Soft, shaky breath. My voice is low, almost breaking. I never asked for this. Not motherhood, not responsibility, not the crushing silence of being the last one standing. When my sister died, they handed me her baby. My niece? I remember the hospital room, white walls, machines still beeping even after she was gone. Take care of her, the nurse said, placing the tiny bundle in my arms. I whispered, but I don't know how. The baby stirred, her eyes half closed, fists clenched, so small, so helpless, and in that moment I realized I had no choice. She's yours now, the nurse said softly. I wanted to scream, no, she's not mine, she's my sister's. But my sister wasn't Seth's coming back. That first night I sat on my couch, Leela cradled against me. The apartment was too quiet, except for her little cries. I stared at her and whispered, "What do I do with you, huh?" Her tiny face scrunched up. She wailed louder. I panicked. "Shay, please, please, stop crying. I don't even know if I am holding you right." I tried warming milk, burned my hand on the stove, spilled half of it, fed her the rest with trembling fingers. "Don't die on me," I begged, rocking her back and forth. "I can lose you too." She finally drank. Her crying slowed, her eyes fluttered closed. And that's when it hit me. She trusted me. Even though I was falling apart, she trusted me. Days blurred, funeral, peepers, people whispering. At the service, an aunt leaned close and muttered, "Poor girl, raising a baby alone. She one step last a year." I clenched my jaw, clutching Layla tighter. Another cousin smirked. She couldn't even manage her own life. And now this? Their words cut deep. Maybe they were right. I was broke. I was barely keeping a roof over my head. My fridge was empty more often than full. But when I looked at Leela, I knew I had to fight. Late nights became routine. I'd sit at the table, bills scattered around me, tears blurring the numbers. And Leela would cry from the bedroom. I said, wipe my face, force myself up, and whisper, "Coming, baby." Dawn said, "Worry." I said, "I'm here." I'd cradle her in my arms, her warmth against my chest, and rock her to sleep. "You shall never feel abandoned," I promised her one night. "Not like I did, not like your mother did. I shall give you everything I never had." My voice cracked, but I meant every word. Sometimes I'd dream my sister was still alive. I'd hear her laugh, smell her perfume, feel her hand squeeze mine. But then the crib creaked, and I'd wake up, alone, with Layla staring at me through the bars, wide-eyed, waiting for me. "You sir looking at me like I am supposed to know what I am doing," I whispered to her. "But the truth is, I am learning with you. We sir both lost, baby girl." She gurgled, almost like she understood, almost like she forgave me for not being enough. Months passed. Leela grew. Her tiny fists opened. She grabbed my finger, held it with surprising strength. And with every giggle, every little step, I felt something shift inside me. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was living for her. When she called me mama for the first time, my heart shattered and healed all at once. I whispered back, "I'm not your mother, but maybe I can be close enough." But even then, deep down, I carried a weight. What if I failed her? What if the whispers were right? Every night, when she finally slept, I'd sit in the dark and ask myself, am I enough? The silence never answered. All I had were my promises. "I shall protect you, Layla. I shall give you everything. I shall never let anyone hurt you." I believed those words. I clung to them. I didn't know then that one day, she would be the one holding the knife. Long pause. My breath catches, like I can barely say the next words. And that vow I whispered, the one I thought would save us. It would be the very thing that destroyed me. Years later, I thought I finally found peace. I thought love had come back to me. Daniel wasn't the kind of man who swept me off my feet with big gestures. He was steady, solid. The kind of man who fixed a leaky sink and brought soup when I was sick. After years of loneliness, that felt like enough, more than enough. The night he proposed, we were sitting at the kitchen table. No fancy restaurant, no violin music, just us, leftover pasta, and Layla's giggles echoing down the hall. He cleared his throat. "Can I say something without you freaking out?" I laughed. "Depends. Is it about my cooking? Because I already know, It sucks terrible. He shook his head, smiling nervously. His hand slipped into his pocket. My heart stopped. Wait, are you? He pulled out the little velvet box. Opened it. The gold caught the kitchen light. My hands flew to my mouth. Daniel? He leaned closer. His voice was soft. I know I stum not perfect. But I love you, and I love Layla. Marry me. Tears blurred my vision. My throat tightened. Yes, of course, yes. He slid the ring onto my finger. My hand shook as I stared at it. So delicate, so bright. This isn't set just a ring, I whispered. This is a future. He kissed me. Gentle. Certain. And for the first time in years, I believed I wasn't cursed. Leela ran in, barefoot, her hair messy from playing. What sep's happening? Why are you crying? I held out my hand. Look, baby. Daniel asked me to marry him. Her eyes widened. She squealed. You still getting married? Daniel chuckled. We are. Layla Sep's gaze locked onto the ring. She reached out, touching it carefully. It's Sep's so pretty. Can I wear it someday? I laughed, shaking my head. Someday, sure, but this one Sep's mine. She giggled and twirled away, shouting, Mama Sep's getting married. My heart felt full, like maybe, just maybe, my sacrifices had been worth it. Weeks turned into months of wedding planning. I poured myself into it, picking flowers, tasting cakes, trying on dresses I never thought I'd wear. One evening, I sat with Daniel, surrounded by invitations. Do you think it sucks too much? I asked. The hall, the band, maybe we should keep it simple. He shook his head firmly. You deserve this. After everything you said been through, you deserve the best. I stared at him, warmth flooding my chest. I don't stet know how I got so lucky. He smiled. I do. I waited for you. Those words melted me, made me believe he was the answer to every lonely night I'd survived. Leela loved being part of it all. She helped me pick out centerpieces, tried on dresses with me, and insisted on practicing walking down the aisle as my flower girl. One night, as I tucked her into bed, she whispered, Mama, will Daniel still love me when he seps your husband? I stroked her hair. Of course, baby. He already does. She hesitated. But, will he still play board games with me? Or just with you? I smiled. Both, he seps marrying us, not just me. Her eyes softened. Good, because I love him too. My chest ached with tenderness. I kissed her forehead. Then we sitcher already a family. I didn't know then what those words would cost me. I didn't know the ring on my finger would one day burn like fire. Or that the man I trusted, the man who promised me forever, would hand that symbol of my future to the girl I raised as my own. But that night, as I watched the two of them laughing together in the living room, I let myself believe that I was safe. That love was real, that my story finally had a happy ending. I should have known better. Happiness never lasts in my life. And that ring, my ring, would soon become the weapon that destroyed everything. Leela wasn't a little girl anymore. She was growing, changing, and with every passing day my home didn't feel like mine. One night, I caught Daniel in the kitchen with her. She was laughing at something he said, tossing her hair back like a woman, not a child. I frowned. What sep's so funny? Layla glanced at him first, then at me. Nothing. Just a joke. Daniel grinned. Inside joke, I guess. The way his eyes lingered on her, too long, too soft, made my stomach twist. I forced a smile. Well, I hope I get to hear it someday. Silence, just a quick glance between them, then she excused herself, almost skipping down the hall. I stared at him. She seps just a teenager. Don't stet encourage her like that. He lifted his hands. Relax. She seps a kid. I was just being nice. But it didn't stet feel nice. It felt wrong. Weeks later, she came out of her room wearing lipstick, tight clothes I'd never bought her. I froze. Where are you going dressed like that? She rolled her eyes. To the library. The library? In heels? Daniel chuckled from the couch. She looks fine. Let her be. My head snapped toward him. Fine? She seps 16. Layla smirked, tugged at her skirt. See? He gets it. I wanted to scream, but instead I swallowed hard, my chest burning. She's my daughter, I whispered under my breath. She's just growing up, he said calmly, not even looking at me. Little things kept piling up. The way he brushed her hair behind her ear as he walked past. The way she laughed louder at his jokes than mine. The way she seemed to light up when he entered the room. I told myself I was imagining it, that trauma made me paranoid, that maybe I was jealous of my own child. But then came the whispers. Late one night, I passed her room. The door was cracked open, their voices carried through. Her voice was soft. You think she knows? Daniel Sip's voice, low, careful. Shet, keep your voice down. My chest tightened. My legs froze. Knows what? I whispered to myself. I pushed the door open. She was alone, sitting at her desk, pretending to write. She looked up quickly. What are you doing awake? She snapped. My eyes darted around. No Daniel, no one else, just her. But I knew what I heard. Nothing, I muttered, backing away. I just thought I heard voices. She tilted her head, eyes sharp. Maybe you stir just hearing things. The way she said it, calm, smug, made me shiver. The next morning, I confronted him. Were you in her room last night? Daniel frowned, sipping his coffee. What? No, why would I be? I heard you. I heard your voice. He laughed. You said you're losing it. Maybe you were dreaming. My hand shook as I set down my mug. Don Set lie to me. He leaned back, smirking. If you don't set trust me, why are we even getting married? That cut deep. He knew it. I stayed silent. But the worst moment came weeks later. I came home early. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Leela, I called out. No answer. I pushed her door open. She was standing in front of the mirror, wearing perfume, lipstick, my necklace. Daniel Sep's jacket draped across her chair. Her eyes widened when she saw me. Then, she smiled. Do you like it? She asked, twirling once. My throat closed. Where did you get that? Daniel said I should try dressing more grown up. The room spun. He said that. She tilted her head, smirking. Why? Does it bother you? I took a shaky step closer. He Sep's mine, Layla. Her smile widened, almost wicked. Then maybe you should keep a closer eye on him. That night, I cried into my pillow while Daniel slept beside me. I wanted to wake him, shake him, scream at him until he confessed. But fear held me down. Fear that if I asked the wrong question I'd hear the truth. And once the truth came out, I knew there'd be no going back. I whispered to myself in the dark. She Sep's just a child. She Sep's just a child. But another voice inside me, the one I tried to silence, kept whispering back. No, she Sep's not anymore. And deep down, I knew the shadows in my own home weren't shadows at all. They were secrets. They were betrayal. And they were growing darker every day. I was just walking down the hall. Just another night. But when I opened her door, my heart stopped. Leela was sitting at her mirror, turning side to side, smiling, admiring herself. And on her hand, on her finger, was my wedding ring. I froze. What is that? She glanced at me in the mirror, not guilty, not scared. Smirking. Oh, this. She held her hand up, twisting it under the light. Daniel gave it to me, said I should try it on. My chest caved in. He what? Relax, she said, her voice sugar sweet. It steps not like I stepped stealing it. He just wanted to see how it looked on me. My legs went weak. Take it off now. She shrugged. Why? Dawn said you think it suits me. Layla. My voice cracked. That Sep's my ring, my future. Take it off. Slowly, almost teasing, she slid it from her finger, set it on the desk. Then she turned, smiling like it was all a joke. You stir overreacting. But my stomach twisted. My hands shook. It didn't feel like a joke. I stormed into the living room where Daniel sat, scrolling on his phone. Why did you give her my ring? He looked up, eyebrows raised. What? Dawn Sut lied to me. She just told me you let her try it on. His eyes widened, too wide. No, I didn't stet. Yes, you did. She was wearing it, Daniel, on her hand, sitting there smiling like, my voice broke, like it belonged to her. He set his phone down slowly. You must have misunderstood. Maybe she took it without asking. She said you gave it to her. He shook his head, sighing. She Sep's a teenager, you know how they are, maybe she Sep's acting out. My throat tightened. Don Set, you dare turn this on her, or me, just tell me the truth, did you give it to her? He leaned back, meeting my eyes. Calm. Too calm. Of course not. But I couldn't shake the image. Her smirk, his fake innocence. I whispered, almost to myself, why would she lie about that? Daniel leaned forward. Because she Sep's jealous, maybe, wants attention. You Sept her whole world, maybe she Sep's competing with you. My blood ran cold. Competing with me? For him? I whispered. She Sep's my daughter. He pressed his lips together. Then maybe treat her like one instead of suspecting her of things. My jaw clenched. You start twisting this. You always twist things when you what? His voice was sharper now. When you get paranoid? The word sliced me open. Paranoid. I stumbled back, clutching my chest. Not paranoid. I saw her. I saw it. He lowered his voice, soft again. You said been through a lot. Trauma makes you imagine things sometimes. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tear his mask off right there. But his calmness, his steady tone, it made me doubt myself. Just for a second. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing it. Her delicate fingers wearing my ring, twisting it like a prize. I whispered into the dark. Why would he give it to her? Why would she wear it? No answer. Just silence. And silence is the worst kind of confession. The next morning I tried again. Leela was at the kitchen table, sipping juice like nothing happened. I sat across from her. My voice low. Why did you say Daniel gave you the ring? She raised her eyebrows. Because he did. My pulse jumped. He swore he did instead. Her lips curved. Then one of us is lying. I slammed my hand on the table. Don Set play games with me. She leaned forward, eyes locked on mine. Calm. Cold. Maybe you should ask yourself why you don't trust either of us. Her words hit harder than a slap. Daniel walked in just then, wrapping an arm around her shoulders casually. Too casually. What Sep's going on? He asked. Leela didn't even look at him. She just smirked. Nothing. She just confused. He frowned at me, disappointed, like I was the problem. And for the first time, I felt like a stranger in my own home. I wanted to believe I was wrong. I wanted to believe I imagined it. But the truth was already crawling under my skin, whispering in my ear. That ring was just a ring anymore. It was a crack. A sharp, poisonous crack splitting my life wide open. And deep down I knew, if I didn't face it soon, it would destroy me. I thought heartbreak had limits. But I was wrong. Sarah's voice cracked through the phone, trembling. I didn't know if I should tell you, but you need to see this. My stomach dropped. What are you talking about, Sarah? A pause. Then the sharp ping of incoming pictures. My fingers shook as I tapped. And there it was. Daniel. Layla? His hand on the small of her back. Her head tilted up, smiling at him in a way that wasn't innocent. I couldn't breathe. The world spun. My voice broke. No, no, that Sep's not. No. Sarah whispered. I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to find out like this. But it was too late. The truth was carved into those images, undeniable. My niece, my daughter, my husband. When Daniel came home that night, I was waiting. Pictures spread across the table like shattered glass. He froze. His eyes darted, calculating. Explain, I whispered. He swallowed, feigning shock. This is nothing. She was upset. I was comforting her. I slammed the table. Don't lie to me, Daniel. Don't you dare. Footsteps creaked on the stairs. Layla appeared, my ring glinting on her finger like a blade. Layla, my voice cracked. Why are you doing this to me? She crossed her arms, eyes hard, too old for her years. You don't get it. You smothered me my whole life. Daniel, he sees me, he loves me. My chest caved. He Sep's my husband, I screamed. He was supposed to be mine. Her smirk was ice. Was he? Or was he just trapped with you? I turned to Daniel, desperate. Tell her she Sep's confused. Tell her this isn't real. But his silence was louder than any confession. Finally he muttered, "You've been paranoid for years. Always accusing, always controlling. Maybe this is your fault." The words split me open. My fault? My fault that my own husband betrays me with my child. Layla snapped. "I Semshin not your child. You Semshin not my mother. You never were. Stop pretending you own me." Her words sliced deeper than any knife. I raised her. I fed her. I loved her when no one else did. And now, she threw me into the fire like I was nothing. I staggered back, my legs shaking. "You both disgust me." Layla sneered. "You still get over it. Or maybe you unstut. Doesn't matter." Daniel reached for her hand. As their fingers intertwined, I collapsed against the wall. Every breath felt like shards of glass cutting through my lungs. Sarah found me hours later, curled on the floor, empty. I showed her the ring, the pictures, the truth. She cried harder than I did. "Wahida," she whispered, holding me. "You don't deserve this. They were monsters." I stared at the ceiling, numb. "No, they were worse than monsters. Monsters don't pretend to love you first." The rage came slowly, like poison dripping into my veins. Every memory twisted. His laugh at dinner. Her secretive smiles. Their late-night whispers I forced myself to ignore. It had all been there. I just didn't want to see it. But now, I saw everything. The next morning, Leela strutted through the kitchen with my ring still on her hand. She caught my stare and smirked. "Dawn Sut, look at me like that." "Daniel Sut's not yours anymore," I whispered, trembling. "You'll regret this." Her laughter was sharp, cruel. "No, you will." I stayed quiet. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. But inside, a storm was forming. A storm meant to destroy them both. Because betrayal that deep doesn't fade. It transforms. And mine was transforming into something lethal. Whispers follow me everywhere. At the market. At work. Even in the quiet corners of the street I once called home. I hear them. "Poor thing, lost her fiancé to her own niece. No wonder he left, she was always too controlling." Or worse, the laughter they try to hide behind their hands. I keep my head down, but every word burns. Sarah corners me in my kitchen one night, slamming her hands on the counter. "Why aren't you fighting back? You're letting them win." I stare at the floor. "What left to fight for, Sarah? He's gone, she's gone, and everyone thinks I them the fool." Her voice softens. "You're not the fool, they are." I whisper. "Then why does everyone look at me like I'm broken? Like I deserved this?" Sarah grips my shoulders. "Because they only know the lies Leela Sepp's posting. You stayed silent while she paints you as some bitter, jealous woman." I scroll through my phone later that night. There she is. Layla, wearing my ring. Wearing my smile. Captioned, "Finally found someone who understands me. Not everyone will approve, but love is love." Comments flood in. Hearts. Congratulations. Some mocking me without saying my name. I throw the phone across the room. It shatters against the wall, like the pieces of me already scattered. At work, it's worse. Coworkers exchange glances when I walk in. One finally mutters, "She should seen it coming." Men get bored, especially with women like her. I spin around trembling. "What did you say?" The woman smirks. "Nothing. Just, maybe take this as a lesson." My voice shakes, but I force the words out. "The only lesson here is how low people can sink." I storm out before the tears fall. Because crying in front of them would be another victory for their gossip. That night, alone in the dark, I whisper to myself, was it all worthless? Every meal I cooked? Every bill I paid? Every sleepless night spent worrying about her future? My chest aches. Did she ever love me? Or was I just a placeholder until she found someone better? Silence answers me. The kind of silence that eats you alive. Sarah calls again. Her voice is urgent. "You can keep doing this. You can keep isolating yourself. They want you quiet. They want you broken." I murmur. Maybe that's who I am now. Broken. Ashes of who I was. She snaps back. "No. Ashes mean fire was here once. And fire can come back." I close my eyes, letting her words sink in. For the first time in weeks, I feel something spark. The rage creeps in slowly, like a whisper. If they thought I would vanish quietly. If they thought I would curl up and die while they flaunted their betrayal. They didn't know me at all. I look in the mirror. My reflection is pale, hollow, but behind my eyes, something darker stirs. I whisper to myself, steady this time. They took everything, but I stem still here. Sarah's words echo in my mind. Ashes mean fire was here once. And suddenly I realize, the fire isn't set gone. It's steps waiting. The humiliation, the whispers, the pity. They wanted me weak. But all they did was teach me who my enemies are. And now, I am ready to rise. Silence. That became my weapon. I stopped confronting them. No more screaming. No more begging for answers. Instead, I watched, I listened. And I learned. Leela called one evening, her voice sugary sweet. Auntie, I hope you stir not still mad. Daniel and I, we didn't plan this. Love just happens, you know? I forced a laugh. You sir right. Who can fight love? She giggled, thinking she won. I knew you understand. Besides, you deserve someone better. Daniel was never really your type. My chest burned, but my voice stayed calm. You sir probably right. She kept talking, bragging about their new apartment, the trips he promised her. I just nodded, murmured, I stem happy for you. But inside I was carving her words into memory. Every detail, every slip. Daniel came by once to collect the last of his things. He stood in the doorway, avoiding my eyes. I didn't mean to hurt you, he muttered. It just happened. I smiled faintly. Of course, you fell in love. What else could you do? Relief washed over his face. I knew you understand. He thought I was forgiving him. But I was cataloging the guilt in his eyes, the hesitation in his voice, the lies that dripped from his mouth. Sarah didn't like my act. You're too quiet, she snapped one night over tea. You start smiling at them like nothing happened. It makes me sick. I met her glare. You think I am weak? She shook her head. No, I think you start plotting. And honestly, it scares me. I leaned closer, my voice dropping to a whisper. Good. Let it scare you, because if silence scares you, imagine what it will do to them. Sarah Sip's eyes widened. She said nothing more. I started small, checking Daniel's old bank statements I still had access to. Transfers to Leela Sep's account. Hidden, regular. Proof. Then I scrolled through Leela Sep's social media. Her captions were careless. One photo, a designer bag. She wrote, spoiled by my man again, are some swen. But I knew that bag cost more than Daniel's monthly paycheck. I smiled to myself. She was bragging her way into a trap. Sarah asked me again, weeks later, what are you doing with all this? I shrugged. Collecting ashes, turning them into weapons. She frowned. You sound cold. I whispered. I have to be. Layla called again. This time to show off. Auntie, Daniel says we'd still get married soon, maybe in Greece. You should come if you can stomach it. Her laughter stabbed me, but I kept my tone light. Of course. You know I wouldn't miss it. She paused, uncertain. You really mean that? I whispered. Of course. Then I hung up before the cracks in my voice betrayed me. Every smile I gave them was a lie. Every nod was a blade I was sharpening. Daniel thought he escaped. Leela thought she won. But I wasn't broken. I was building. Sarah cornered me again. You can live like this, collecting evidence, pretending, it still consume you. I shook my head. No, Sarah, it still free me. Her voice trembled. What are you planning? I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. They stole my ring, they stole my life, but I still take everything back. She whispered. How? I finally looked at her. Not with shouting, not with fists. Revenge isn't going to be loud. Her breath caught. What then? I smiled for real this time, but it was sharp, dangerous. It's going to be surgical. Nights stretched into mornings as I pieced everything together. Screenshots, receipts, transfers, lies. All neatly stored, all ready. I kept hearing Daniel Sep's voice in my head. I didn't mean to hurt you. And Leila says, love just happens, you know. But love wasn't what I saw in those numbers and posts. It was greed, it was manipulation. And I was going to use their own greed to destroy them. One night, standing in front of the mirror, I barely recognized myself. Gone was the weeping, broken woman. My eyes were steady, cold. I whispered to my reflection. My silence is instead weakness. It steps the sound of your ending. For the first time, I almost smiled. I stood at the edge of the living room, watching the crowd. Laughter, clinking glasses, fake smiles. Family gatherings had always been theater. Tonight, I wasn't the audience. I was the executioner. Why are you so quiet? Sarah leaned in, eyes searching mine. I'm just watching, I whispered, though my heart pounded like a war drum. Daniel's voice cut across the room. There she is, always brooding in the corner. Come on, smile a little. His smirk dripped arrogance. Leela giggled beside him, sliding her hand over his. She seps still bitter, Dawn spent mind her. I forced a smile. Bitter? No, careful maybe. Layla tilted her head. Careful of what? I let the silence hang, a silence that tasted sharper than knives. Then I reached into my bag and pulled out the envelope. What seps that? Daniel frowned. Proof, I said. My voice didn't shake. It sliced. The room stilled. I laid the photos on the table. Screenshots of messages, transfers, nights they thought were secret. Layla laughed nervously. This is fake. She seps making things up. Read them out loud, I told her, sliding a printout of her own text across the table. Daniel Sip's face paled as whispers spread. Sarah stepped forward. Wait, is this real? Read it, I repeated. My throat burned, but I didn't flinch. Leela Sip's lips trembled as she stammered. Fekin stood a wait to wear her ring once she steps out of the picture. Hey Stitch, her voice cracked. No, this. Gasps filled the room. An aunt muttered, shameless. Daniel raised his hand like a shield. Listen, it Sip's complicated. No, I snapped, finally letting my rage breathe. It's simple, you both betrayed me. You paraded your love while stealing mine. Leela Sep's friend hissed. You told us she was obsessive, that she wouldn't let go. Another voice rose from the corner, sharp as judgment. You lied to all of us. Daniel Sep's jaw tightened. This doesn't change who I am, my career, my life. Oh, but it does. I slid forward the final sheet. Bank records. Money funneled from my accounts. Signed under his name. This is fraud. Theft. Try explaining that to your boss. Murmurs swelled into disgust. Someone whispered, his company won survive this. Leela lunged for the papers. Stop it, you don't know what you are doing. I pulled them back, calm, cold. I know exactly what I am doing. Sarah Sip's eyes brimmed with tears. All this time, you let them destroy you quietly. And now I let the truth destroy them. I said. Steady. Daniel Sep's mask cracked, sweat glistening at his temple. You think this makes you strong? You said I'll always be alone. I stepped closer, my breath grazing his ear. Alone is better than chained to liars. The room erupted, voices colliding, family members turning their backs on them. Leela tried reaching for a friend, but the girl pulled away. You disgust me. Daniel shouted. You don't understand, but no one listened. His voice drowned in the tide of rejection. I stood still, watching their empire crumble in real time. No tears, no rage, just silence. My silence was louder than their screams. Leela fell into a chair, face in her hands. Daniel shoved past relatives, desperate to escape the judgment raining down on him. Sarah touched my arm gently. You don't have to say anything else. They already buried themselves. I nodded, eyes fixed on the wreckage. Exactly. I didn't ruin them. They did it themselves. I just lit the match. As I turned to leave, the whispers followed. Not about me, not anymore. She endured so much. They treated her like dirt. She stepped stronger than both of them. For the first time in months, the weight lifted. Their masks had shattered, their kingdom of lies reduced to rubble. And me? I walked out of that room not broken, not bitter. Whole. I found him waiting for me outside, leaning against the wall like a man who'd already been sentenced. Please, just hear me out. Daniel said, voice cracking. I crossed my arms. Why? So you can practice another lie. He shook his head desperately. No lies. Not anymore. I made a mistake. A terrible one. I let her manipulate me, and I cut him off. Dawn is set, you dare blame her. You chose every step. His eyes darted away. I thought I loved her. I thought she was what I needed. But now, he grabbed my wrist, trembling. Now I see what I lost. I pulled my hand free. You didn't lose me, Daniel. You threw me away. He flinched like the words burned him. I can fix this, he whispered. If you still just give me. I laughed, bitter and hollow. Fix this? My trust? My dignity? My nights spent wondering why I wasn't sect enough? No, Daniel. That sep's gone. His face collapsed. He opened his mouth but nothing came out. And then Layla stormed in, heels striking the pavement like knives. There you are, she hissed, eyes wild, begging her, pathetic. Daniel froze. Leela, stop. No. She ruined everything. Leela Sip's voice sliced through the night. My friends once supped even look at me. My parents, my own parents, called me a disgrace. She turned on me, venom dripping. This is your fault. You destroyed me. I stared at her, calm. I didn't destroy you. You did that yourself. Her face twisted, tears streaking her makeup. You think you stir innocent? You set us up. You wanted revenge. And you. I stepped forward, close enough to see her mascara bleeding. Revenge? No. I wanted the truth out. The rest? That sep's just karma doing its work. Layla spun to Daniel, shoving him. Say something. Defend me. He looked at her, broken. Defend what? The lies? The greed? The way you used me as much as I used you? Her jaw dropped. You coward. You dragged me down. Daniel roared, voice raw. You promised me love, but all we had was poison. They stood there, ripping into each other, blind to everything but their own ruin. And me? I just watched. Leela shoved him again, desperate. You said you stead leave her for me. You said we stead build a life. Daniel Sepp's laugh was hollow. A life? We Supt are already dead. Look at us. The silence that followed was heavier than their shouting. Layla crumbled against the wall, sobbing. Daniel sank into his hands, shoulders shaking. I didn't move. I didn't comfort either of them. I had no sympathy left to give. Finally, Layla looked up at me, eyes swollen. Are you happy now? I held her gaze. No, happiness doesn't come from watching you two fall apart, but peace does. Daniel whispered, almost to himself. We ruined everything. I nodded. Yes, you did. And then I turned. Step by step, I walked away. Their voices faded behind me, her sobs, his hollow apologies, two people clinging to each other, not out of love, but out of desperation, survival, fragile, toxic. I didn't need to stay to see the collapse. It was already written in the way they looked at each other, not lovers, just ghosts bound by regret. As the night air filled my lungs, I felt both heavy and light. Grief still clung to me, but underneath it pulsed something sharper, satisfaction. I hadn't screamed. I hadn't cursed. The truth had been enough. And now, they were the broken ones. I sat across from Sarah, the girl I once called my daughter. She broke the silence first. You hate me now, don't you? I let out a breath. Hate is easy, too easy. What I feel is heavier. Her eyes darted away. I made a mistake. I leaned forward. A mistake is spilling coffee. What you did was betrayal. She flinched, her hands trembling in her lap. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought Daniel loved me. Don't say his name, I snapped. My voice cut sharper than I intended. Her lips trembled. I didn't mean to hurt you. I laughed hollow. That sep's the thing about betrayal, Sarah. It doesn't matter if you meant it or not. The blade still cuts. Silence filled the room, stretching like a wound that refused to close. Finally she whispered, so what now? You just going to erase me? I looked her dead in the eye. You erased yourself the moment you chose him. Her tears fell fast, splashing against the table. I didn't reach for her, not this time. Because this was the end. That night, I packed everything tied to Daniel into a single box. The ring, the dress, even the letters I once thought were love. I held the ring in my palm one last time. Cold, empty, just like him. When the pawn shop owner asked, "Are you sure?" I said, "I've never been more sure." And when the register clicked, I felt something inside me unlock. Freedom. Later, I met with my lawyer. He slid the papers across the desk. "You really want her cut out of the will?" he asked carefully. "Yes." My voice was steady. "Family is not blood. It's Step's loyalty, and she chose her side." He nodded, pen scratching against the page. That sound was final. Irreversible. Sarah tried to call after that. Dozens of missed calls, voicemails filled with apologies, excuses, desperate pleas. I didn't answer. Some wounds need silence, not words. Months passed. I built a new rhythm, a new life, not as the abandoned fiancé, not as the betrayed mother, but as me. I started my own business. I filled my home with laughter again. This time, mine. I traveled, I lived, I breathed. And for the first time in years, I felt alive. One evening, a friend asked me, "Dawn said you miss them. Daniel, Sarah?" I thought about it. About the faces that once defined my world. And I said, "I miss who I thought they were, but I don't miss who they became." The words tasted like truth. My scars remain. I see them in the mirror every day. But they no longer make me weak. They make me real. Because I survived fire. I survived betrayal. And I came out forged. In the ashes of losing everything, my partner, my daughter, my trust, I found the one thing that mattered. Myself. And that was enough.